Hi, I'm Dave with Miami Valley Gear Guys, and today we're going to clean our MSR MiniWorks EX water filter.
What I've got today to clean this is the filter itself. I also have a brush for the hose that I got with my Camelback cleaning kit, and some lubricant. What I'm using for lubricant is some Mary Kay night cream. Okay, the first step is to take this apart. So what I'm going to do is remove the bottom of the filter, just like I would for filtering water, and remove the pump from the canister housing. I'm going to push up with my thumb on the bottom, and that's pushing the filter element itself out. I'm going to set that to the side. We're going to boil that. And now I need to take apart the pump housing itself. I'm going to remove the hose, just pops off the hosing, and then I'm going to remove the inlet valve, the inlet piece, and the inlet cage. On the housing itself, I'm going to pull off the umbrella valve out of the bottom, and I'm going to remove the two retaining pins. One holds the top of the pump onto the pump handle onto the pump housing. Slide out both ends. I'll keep these together. And then if I pull the handle off, it's going to take the pump handle with it. And I'm just going to remove this retaining pin and keep the two pieces together so I don't lose them. Now the pump itself comes off of the pump handle, and I've just got my inlet valve to remove that unscrews. And then there's a couple pieces in here. I have a spring and a duct valve. I can remove those too. Inside the duct valve, there's a very important little washer in here. That's the only thing I'm not going to take apart. I'm going to leave that right where it is. And then what I want to do with all of these pieces is just rinse them off. What I'm going to clean is the filter element itself. The reason being is that although this just needs a rinse off and a once over with a scrubby pad, I'm also going to go with MSR's recommendation though and set this at a rolling boil for 5 minutes and then let it dry for a few days. So what I'm going to do is just set that in some warm water and let that go to a boil. After 5 minutes of boil, I'll remove that and we'll put it back together so you can see it all put back together. But then I'm going to take this apart, let my hose dry and my filter dry for a few days, let them air dry. Okay, I've got my filter at a boil right now, so what I want to do is start by cleaning out the hose, and I'm going to use the brush from my Camelback. And this brush and cable is not long enough for this particular hose. It's made for my Camelback hose, which is shorter. So I'm just going to pop that wet hose in there, and I'll do this from both ends. And then twist and pull that back out. Make sure there's plenty of water in there to break up the surface tension. Then from the other end, same thing. Stuff that in. Pull that out with a twist. And that should look pretty clear and clean. Like my filter, I'm going to let that air dry when we're finished with this. So now I just take the inlet itself and the little particulate filter sponge, pop that back in there, just like that. I'll take the inlet cage, put it back on the hose, and pop that water inlet back in there. The other end is going to connect to the housing, and I'll put that on when I finish that. I've got my lubricant. There are 3 O-rings, and all 3 are black O-rings that need to be lubricated. Your orange O-ring that goes on the filter element itself that I've got boiling does not get lubricated. We really don't want to do a lot to lubricate this. I'm just going to get some of that night cream. You can use Vaseline or lip balm. Put that on the end of my finger and just run that around there, just to make a good seal. Then I'm going to rejoin the spring, pop that back in, and the duct valve itself will pop on there. Now that's ready to go into the filter housing. So I'll just screw that back in. And this is where the other end of the hose is going to go, and I'll put that back on when I'm finished with everything else. Now the umbrella valve goes on the bottom of the pump housing. Now I'm ready to put in the pump itself. Again, I'm going to lubricate. This is the second black O-ring that I'm going to lubricate. Second of 3. So that's ready to be slid in there. So I'll put this on the handle first. Small end. We'll insert that, and then I'll hold the handle to the housing itself with the larger retaining pin. That little noise lets me know that I've got air going one way and not the other, which is what I want the water to do also. Now the third O-ring that I need to lubricate is just around the edge of the filter housing. One thing you want to do while you've got your filter element out is to check and make sure it's still good. Your C-ring that's on the bottom of your should not pass through the filter. Once this can pass over the filter, then you need to replace this. Too much of it has worn off. Okay, I've carefully removed the filter element from the boiling water, and I'm going to replace the O-ring. Again, the orange one does not need to be replaced. And then I take my outlet port side, drop that in the bottom of the housing itself, filter housing. The cap is going to screw on the bottom, and the filter housing is going to screw on the top. And then all I need to do to get this ready to go back out in the field is to pop the hose back on the inlet valve. And then I'll wrap the hose around the filter itself and pop that in this bag and take it out.
For me, I use my filter probably 20 times a year or less, so field cleaning it takes care of my needs throughout the year, and once in the winter I'll try and bring that in and do a detailed cleaning like that.